Here with Whitney Popp, Whitney Similar Popp, who is an MCB alum and was a professional dancer. And we're going to talk about some of her Swan Lake experiences. But first, Whitney, could you tell me a little bit about your life at MCB and then after?
That's a nice loaded question.
Briefly.
So my life, MCB, briefly. So I grew up in the Tri-Cities, and I danced with MCRB at the time.
Yes.
But current now MCB. That was kind of my formal training with Deborah. I was going to say Joel, not Joel.
Jazz.
And did jazz, did ballet, did tap. I did the whole 9 yards. Through high school, I left to graduate in high school a year early to go dance then at the professional division at Pacific Northwest Ballet. And from there, I started dancing with Sacramento Ballet and danced as a principal there for 5 years. And then I moved to New York and by chance got to be on a rehearsal at the right time with Twyla Tharp and was invited to dance with her company, which was probably the all-time high of my career. And then she had asked me to go on the national tour, first national tour of Moving Out, the Broadway show, which I also did, which was incredible because it was something totally different, the Broadway world. And from that, just then traveled again overseas, dancing Tharp's works. And now I just set them, and I'm living in Colorado and have 3 babies, and they're not all babies anymore, 3 kiddos. And yeah, that's where I started. The fundamentals were MCB, though. Like I spent, how many years? 10 years? Almost 10 years dancing there?
Yeah.
About 9
Something
years.
like that. So this spring, March 17th and 18th, Mid-Columbia Ballet will be doing a performance of Swan Lake Act II as well as Little Red Riding Hood. And they actually did both of those the first time in 1996. And in the 1996 MCB production, MCRB at the time, production of Swan Lake Act II, what did you do, Whitney?
I was, I was going to say dial. I was a vet.
Yes.
Like, wait, what we do? I got the first, ever opportunity to do second act Swan Lake. Pas de deux, not just core. I got to be Odette. And they, Deborah, the company, the board, brought in a professional dancer from Pacific Northwest Ballet, Charles Newton. I remember being so nervous because he was like a man, and I was 16, 17 maybe, 17. Math is not my, but I got to perform it, and it was incredible. I got a little bit of coaching from Patricia Barker, but mostly everything was with Deborah. And what, an amazing, surreal experience, dancing with a professional dancer. We didn't have a lot of male dancers in the company anyway, if any. So I didn't get a lot of chances. Now there's more boys than there were when I was a kid, and so to be able to do this with him at that time, was huge. At that time was the epitome of my career.
Yeah.
My career. Yeah.
So what was that like to be coached by a professional dancer, Patricia Barker?
Well, we'll talk about it in a little bit, doing it later in my little career, and knowing the difference of a mature dancer or not. But Patricia had done this role many times at this point in her career, in her life. So there were just, I guess for me, the biggest thing was the maturity of it. Mm-hmm. Kind of the biggest thing for me, not to grasp, but the knowledge that was brought in, I guess, from her, and saying, you're human, but you never stop moving, and you're always looking you will always look like a swan, so down to your fingertips, just having her, and it was Patricia Barker, and for me, that was such an idol, so of course there were nerves and excitement, but taking it in and getting all of that, how incredible, how How incredible. Um, but she was just able to offer artistic, not technical things, but artistic
Yeah.
thoughts to my doing Odette that I'd never really heard before,
Yeah.
I guess. So yeah.
So what was the most difficult thing about the performances and getting through the rehearsal process to the performance, really?
Um, it was probably, well, I always danced a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was a big role though. It's such an iconic ballet, and I guess looking at it kind of from that standpoint, that might have been the biggest obstacle.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it was like it's Swan Lake. It's a people still do that production, you know.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's exhausting. You know, it was an exhausting role because being partnered is very different than dancing on your own. Mm-hmm. I'm very good at and will always be really good at dancing on my own because I just kind of always had to as a kid. Mm-hmm. And I just have always been kind of there's that tomboy side of me, like, I got this, I can do it on my own. Well, it's not always the case because you need a man to help hold you up. Yeah. And so that was learn how to be partnered was really big for me because I hadn't had a lot of that.
So how often did Charles Newton come down for rehearsals and things like that? Like, I mean, you're trying to rehearse a pas de deux by yourself. What was that like?
You walk through it and big things because I don't know. He wasn't here. It was maybe here like 2 weeks. I don't even remember how long he was here. But it wasn't a big chunk of time. Mm. But very gracious. Like when he was here, he was one of the most gracious people that I think that Debbie's ever had in. You know, I think there's been a lot of guest artists, and for the most part, people are very gracious. But there's some every once in a while that are
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very gracious, and I remember, like I said, it might have only been a couple of weekends or a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. But we just went in and, you kind of realize, like, once someone's holding you up and helping you do it, you're like, oh, okay, this is how it feels. And, oh, okay, you're not going to drop me. And he was a man, you know, mm-hmm. He was strong and he was able to help. Partners are able to help you through things.
Yeah.
It became a partnership, which was really great.
Excellent. Yeah. So moving forward, what was the next time that you did Swan Lake after MCB?
The next time I did it was my very last season with Sacramento Ballet. So it was probably 6 years after. Mm-hmm. So I was in my 20s, which by no means makes me very mature, but artistically and the experiences I had already had being in a company, being on my own, you know, living as mm-hmm. an adult, somewhat of an adult, that was, the start of it in 96 doing Act II was incredible. But doing this 4-act ballet will probably go down in history as, ballet-wise, probably my number one, not feat, because it was a huge feat, but probably my number one thing that I ever did that I was just, it was exhausting, mm-hmm. like exhausting, the hardest ballet I've ever done in my life, and you have all 4 acts that you're doing, 2 different pas de deux. It's a lot. It's a lot, yeah. And the coolest thing about doing the whole entire show is that you get to be 2 people. Yeah. So you get to split personality, kind of, uh-huh. And so you get to be like this total not nice person, you know, and you get to be then this total docile, sweet, mm-hmm. you know, swan who has an evil twin, basically, you know. So that's when I did it my second time, and I got to do you do 3 in the 4 acts, but I still hear Act 4. This is like, you just get, you can choose to. I chose to be that enthralled with the role that I still, if Act 4 is on the classical stage or something, I still well up. It's just that music is so, when she finally leaves and everything, you know, it will forever be part of me, you know. I go back and watch it and I'm like, dang, like, that was really pretty good. Like, but I would hope it was because I worked my butt off.
Yeah.
So, but that's when I did it for the second time.
And
So,
and so those two experiences, what do you think that you learned the most? Like if your 20 something Sacramento self could talk to your 17-year-old, Kennewick, Washington self, what would you say?
take all experiences in your life and and
Dogs.
and take note of them,
Hmm.
because you can apply the littlest things to your dancing, because
Hmm.
it's dance is an art form that is just expressed by the body, right? So
Hmm.
you can express, and I've learned this even more so now. Um, yeah, you can express so much with just your body language,
Yeah.
and that's what I would probably tell that self, that the older self to the younger self, like just every experience. It's hard as a kid.
Yeah.
You just don't have a lot to draw on yet. It's
Hmm.
just part of life. You don't have a lot to draw on, and and as you get older, you get more and more experiences. Let's hope.
Hmm.
And that would be my biggest thing. Is like take every little everything you learn, not just in the studio, in life, and apply it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what else. All
Yeah.
right. Well, uh, anything else that you'd like to add to like the MCB dancers now? Anything you'd like to say or?
Um, I I would say there's no part that's too small.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because one of the most beautiful parts of the entire ballet, the entire four-act ballet, is
Mm-hmm.
Act Two, and all of the swans. Because when you get that sea of white on stage as the core ballet, it is so beautiful. It's so incredible. And yes, there might be a principal dancer, there might be the demi soloists, but that that's there is no unimportant role.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then also I would probably say, like, even if you don't go on to dance as a professional dancer, it's still pretty awesome that you can say I've danced Swan Lake Act II. I've
Yeah.
danced Swan Lake. I've done this ballet. Because your peers at school are not doing that.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. And enjoy every moment of it, whether it's Swan Lake or not. Like,
Mm-hmm.
enjoy every moment being on stage, because you may or may not ever get to do it again.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
my thoughts.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us, Whitney. Really appreciate it, and good luck to you and to your sick son today. Much love.
Thanks.